Hi. Thank you for attending today's reading. Let's begin. I put a carton of eggs under my bed when I was like 6 years old. I thought that if I put eggs that were from the grocery store under my bed for long enough they'd hatch. So I put a carton of eggs under my bed. A few months later my sister was cleaning under my bed and saw the eggs. At this point they were long expired. She said, "What the fuck are rotten eggs doing under your bed?" Quote. At this point I had long forgotten that I had put them under my bed, so it took me a hot second to remember. That was fun. End of story. Next story. I almost got a Darwin Award. So a friend discovered that they have bedbugs in their house. They don't have any money to spare for getting rid of them. I step in with a cheap but very effective method of dealing with them. It was simple. I filled a spray bottle with rubbing alcohol and went to town. Having experience with fleas, I knew the rubbing alcohol kills certain bugs instantly. The problem with my approach is I forgot to open the windows. The fumes built fast and strong, nearly knocking myself out with the smell. I realized the dangerous situation when I became increasingly dizzy and abandoned ship. End of story. Next story. Funny story. Conservative teacher versus autistic furry kid. So back in high school I had an old, highly conservative, strict English teacher. She had been around since corporal punishment and literally taught like she was stuck in the 1960s. Well, one day we were presenting our free writing assignments where we had a topic of whatever wanted. Well, one student who was highly on the spectrum and was also a furry who was affiliated with one of the LGBTQ groups decided to present. His free writing assignment was a very graphic story of two gay lovers who were a husky and bird going at it. This graphic furry sex story lasted the whole period while the rest of the class was in shock or trying not to laugh. Well, our conservative old English teacher literally looked like she had been struck by bus. Didn't say anything, just sat at her desk with her mouth wide open. The bell rung and as we left I heard her mutter, "This world is going to hell." I think she retired after my grade 2. End of story. Next story. My sister had a horrible accident and can never walk again. My sister fell off a ladder putting up Christmas lights and badly injured her back. She will be in a wheelchair for the rest of her life. Even with treatment, we've been supporting her as well as we can through this difficult time. She wants a wheelchair with flames painted on it. So my artistic cousin has been working on that while she recovers. And it looks awesome. She's been dating a great guy for 3 years. And just knew he would leave her. Finally. Still at the hospital. She asked him if he was waiting for a better time to break up with her. He said, "No. I was waiting for a better time to propose to you so you could go ahead and get on my insurance." End of story. Next story. My rapist makes my pizza if 18. Have only told 4 people about the events that led to my suicide attempt. I have struggled with depression and anxiety my whole life. It began when I was 5 and I found out I was adopted. Then my parents started fighting and becoming verbally abusive. My cousin killed himself. My grandpa, father figure while my father was drunk, died of cancer. Being bullied for questioning sexuality. Bisexual now. My ex-boyfriend abusing me physically and got me hooked on Oxy. All of this, and much more happened before I was 16. The worst of it, I was raped when I was 14. I was a freshman in HS. The year was coming to an end. And I had made some friends that were upperclassmen. I developed faster than some girls. And boys generally thought I was pretty, but I was never popular. My interests in classical music, history, And theater didn't exactly make me the poster child for popularity. However, I was popular in the music and theater groups of my high school. A friend of mine, Dan, was a senior my freshman year. I met him through the music program. I had a crush on him, but being a shy, sexually inexperienced 14-year-old, I made no moves. He was so cute, so I would always make an effort to talk to him. Dan and I became close. Closer than a 14-year-old girl and an 18-year-old boy should be. But I didn't see anything wrong with it. Besides, he had a girlfriend. I mentioned to him that I was looking for a relationship. I had been on 2 dates that year and decided I would like to experience more. I didn't realize what more meant to guys. He gave my Snapchat to a really nice guy, Anthony. Dan told me he was 16 and went to a HS2 towns over. We talked every day for 2 weeks. And I decided to give him my number. We FaceTimed every night. I told him so much about my life. I really liked him. We had talked about meeting in person, which I was really excited about. But my parents would never let me meet a stranger. One weekend my parents were attending a wedding 4 hours away, so I had the house to myself from Friday morning to Sunday evening. Friday afternoon I called Anthony and invited him over. I explained the situation and he was excited. He came over at about 7 p.m. Snuck around back so neighbors wouldn't see and tell my parents. No one knew he was there. He came in and I had made dinner hoping we would have a date. I was nervous, sweaty and scared, but excited as all hell. He said he wanted to watch TV before he ate, as he wasn't that hungry. Chicken cutlets can be reheated easily, so I didn't mind much. We watched a show he liked. A crime show. One I didn't know, but I didn't mind. We cuddled a lot. For about an hour. For that first half hour we just sat there. We had talked so much that we already moved past the first date type questions and were comfortable in each other's company. 45 minutes in, he started touching me. I won't go into detail, but it was just simple sexual touching. He asked me if I wanted to have sex with him. I didn't know. I was a virgin, but I really liked him. I had already popped my cherry with a tampon, so I didn't have to worry about that. So I told him I would try it. He had mentioned he hadn't had sex in over a year and he has been craving it. He laid me down on my couch and things got hot and heavy. Too hot and too heavy. I started getting anxious, overthinking, scared, and I asked him to stop. He didn't hear me. That's what I told myself. I said stop and then he did. He then flipped me onto my stomach and pushed my face into the couch. I asked him what he was doing, why he was doing it. He didn't answer. I couldn't breathe. I started to cry, begging him to stop. I tried to get up, but he was too strong and kept holding me down. I begged and screamed and cried, but no one heard my muffled screams. I passed out. When I woke up I was alone and naked and confused. I pretended it was a dream. But that night I couldn't stop thinking about it. The next morning I texted Anthony. The first asked him what happened last night and he said we had sex, but that I passed out in the beginning and so we stopped, and he made sure I was okay. And then he went home. I didn't know what to think. He asked if he could see me tonight and I told him I don't want to talk to him anymore. That I want to end our relationship, whatever it be. He begged me not to. Said he would kill himself if I stopped talking to him. He sent me photos of my name carved into his stomach. I was horrified. He told me the next one would be on his thigh. As a naive 14-year-old, I gave in. Told him to come over and that we could talk. This time. Once he got me to the couch. That was it. I didn't have a chance. He ripped my clothes off and raped me. Again. I cried. Begged him to stop. This time he put a sock in my mouth and told me to shut up. I didn't pass out this time. But when he finished he just left. I couldn't move. I hated my body. I hated everything that happened to me. I hated him and I hated myself for letting it happen again. I blocked him on everything. Pretended we never met. It was easier. 3 years later I go to my favorite pizza place for my birthday with 5 friends. None of who know my shame. We went on a Thursday night. A night I've never gone. But that's the day I was born, so that's the day I celebrated. On Friday my family was coming over for a family dinner, so I was occupied that day. My friend Jackie and I walked in first while the others parked the car. Jackie asked for a table while I went to the bathroom quickly. When I came back, Jackie was talking to a guy. Someone I recognized. He had a voice that chilled me to the core. And I froze in that moment. Jackie, a friend of mine for about 4 years, introduced me to him. He looked me in the eyes and said, "I don't think we've met before. I'm Anthony." They chatted while I stood there, frozen. Jackie told me her and Anthony are family friends from childhood. And Anthony used to babysit her when she was 8. Anthony wasn't 16. He was 21 when we met. Now he was almost 25. I thought I was going to throw up. I don't get pizza there anymore and I'm not friends with Jackie. I went home, took my blade, and you can probably fill in the rest. I'm still here. And I tell my story now to tell people that it can happen anywhere to anyone, even with people you trust. Be safe out there. And parents, watch over your children. Teach them what my parents didn't teach me. End of story. That is all for today. If you want to support my automated channel, feel free to drop a like and subscribe. See you tomorrow.